Picture this from an objective outside perspective. A group of people gather in a pitch-black room. They set food on fire, chant a repetitive, synchronized melody, and then demand you make a silent wish before blowing the flames out. It is a highly specific, strange set of behaviors. Because it feels so orchestrated, you might assume this routine was drafted by greeting card executives or created by a single, influential historical figure. But no single person or civilization actually invented the birthday. What we practice today is the result of thousands of years of cultural evolution. To understand how we ended up here, we have to pull this ritual apart. We need to look at the icing, the candles, the gifts, and the sponge base, and trace each element back to its ancient root. When you do, you realize the modern birthday party is a cultural Frankenstein's monster, a timeline of human history hiding in plain sight. In the ancient world, the day an ordinary person was born didn't matter. The biological births of average citizens were completely ignored. The earliest written records of anything resembling a birthday actually come from ancient Egypt, but they were celebrating coronations, the precise moment a pharaoh was believed to transform into a divine ruler. Because of this transformation, the Egyptians described the coronation as a literal new birth. Centuries later, the Romans democratized the concept. They took this exclusive royal practice and allowed military leaders, politicians, and eventually friends and relatives to celebrate their own personal milestones. The Romans built out the framework of the party. They introduced the idea of hosting public feasts, organizing entertainment, and giving physical gifts to the person of honor. But this growing tradition hit a massive historical roadblock. Early Christians actively suppressed birthday celebrations because they viewed these Roman and Egyptian customs as strictly pagan rituals. It took hundreds of years for that stance to soften. It was only after Christmas, the celebration of a very specific birth, gained widespread acceptance, that the broader idea of marking a yearly birthday was allowed to return. By shedding its origins as an exclusive rite of royal divinity and adapting to the dominant religious culture, the concept of the personal milestone survived the Middle Ages. So Egypt and Rome gave us the reason to celebrate, but where did the physical elements, the cake, the fire, and the song, actually come from? For that, we have to look to ancient Greece. Worshippers used to bake round cakes and decorate them with glowing candles. The shape and the light were meant to mimic the glow of the full moon. These glowing cakes were presented as offerings, specifically to Artemis, the Greek goddess of the moon and the hunt. The tradition of the cake sat dormant for centuries until 18th century Germany. That's when a celebration called Kinderfest took hold, and for the first time, the gathering was focused entirely on children. As 18th century sugar and flour costs plummeted, cake accessibility skyrocketed, allowing everyday families to bake at home. During Kinderfest, parents added candles to these cakes, one for each year of life, plus one extra for hope, introducing the silent wish. The final ingredient arrived in 1893, when two sisters named Patty and Mildred Hill wrote a simple schoolhouse song called Good Morning to All. Over the next few decades, that exact melody evolved into Happy Birthday to You. The sensory experience of a modern party is a direct fusion of ancient Greek religious symbols, German childhood optimism, and a 19th century schoolhouse melody. Today, how you celebrate depends heavily on where you live. Some cultures emphasize massive family meals over parties. Some follow lunar calendars instead of the Gregorian calendar. And specific milestones, like turning 16 or 50, carry their own unique weight depending on the society. Yet, despite all those regional variations, the core DNA of the event remains a deeply shared human experience. A modern birthday party is a living museum of human sociology. Every time you stand in a dark room, close your eyes, and blow out a candle, you are participating in a ritual that echoes the ancient customs of Egyptian pharaohs, Roman politicians, and 18th century German children. Our most universal and beloved celebrations are rarely the work of a single inventor. They are the things we slowly build together, piece by piece, across thousands of years.